been watching this over the past half hour. It's been emotional, it's been quite intense. I just wondered how you're feeling at the moment.
Incredibly disappointed, of course. We've been campaigning against this outcome for a long time, not because anyone wants to see people suffer. Everyone wants a dignified end of life. The issues, I think, are that despite the many eloquent speeches from MPs who decided to vote against, that was primarily because they realised that this particular bill had so many failings in the way that the safeguards were constructed and the significant scope for coercion, whether it's overt, whether it's subliminal, that many people will end up ending their lives earlier than they should do or even wanted to. And it just feels a bit sad that in some ways, whilst people think they're voting for something that's protecting some people from a horrible end of life, what they're actually doing, I'm sure, absolutely sure, is that many other people will end up ending their lives earlier than they want to or they should do. And that's completely borne out by what's happening in other countries like Canada.
Do you think this makes people like yourself feel more vulnerable?
Absolutely. There are so many disabled people around the country that have told us that not dead yet. They're absolutely scared. You know, they already know that there is structural disability discrimination in our country and in the medical profession. The number of people that have had do not resuscitate notices put on their files without their consent, because doctors have made poor judgments without consultation around someone's quality of life. We know the guidance in the pandemic, in the COVID pandemic, the initial guidance when they were talking about rationing treatment said anyone in a wheelchair wouldn't get treatment. And that's because doctors, rightly or wrongly, are about fixing people. They have negative views of people who, quotes, can't be fixed, and assumptions around their quality of life. But what we know is that with good palliative care, good social care, the access to decent housing and an income, many disabled people, including those with very strong progressive conditions, can lead amazing lives. And I guess it's this assumption that, well, I'd rather off be dead than live that life. I think that pervades a lot of the thinking here. You saw many MPs saying today's vote should not have been about the principle of assisted suicide. You know, I would probably quite like it myself if I suddenly thought I had a diagnosis of a terminal cancer that was going to be horribly painful. But I don't believe I have the right to request that when I know that for the handful of people that will elect to choose an early death this way, many, many others will be coerced, whether it's family members, whether it's just the subconscious not wanting to be a burden, worrying about whittling away their children's inheritance. There are so many factors. And this isn't scaremongering, Sarah, because we've seen it in Canada. The fifth report on the Canadian legislation said the number of people that were requesting it because they were worried about being a burden on their family, or they had basic lack of control over their body, has more than doubled over the years. And those aren't the issues of pain at the end of life. Those are issues about being disabled. And I think it's this inherent fear that people have about being disabled that drives this very emotional response on this really complex topic.
And you feel that the safeguards just won't be there, they won't be in place?
I'm absolutely certain they won't. And look at the large numbers of amendments that people tried to put forward to protect people. Even today they voted against the amendment saying that only being a burden wouldn't be enough. And it was thrown out.
Mike,
it just seems, and there were 20 or 30 other amendments that were put forward at the committee stage or at the report stages and they're being thrown out. And I think that says we don't value disabled people's lives as much as the rights of some other people to choose when and how they go.
Thank you for sharing how you feel. And there's so many people across the country who will feel similar to Mike today, having seen that result, who will feel that they are less safe as a result.